G'day and welcome back to another DBZ Dokkan video. In this video we're going to take a look at the Strength Beyond Gods Super Saiyan God SS Vegito, and we're going to see just how good he is in DBZ Dokkan Battle after his recent Extreme Z Awakening. So Strength Beyond Gods Super Saiyan God SS Vegito, he has a super type lead of Ki plus 4 HP attack and defense of 140% when the team includes all 5 super types. He raises attack and defense on his super attack permanently and disables enemies' guard while causing immense damage to the enemy. Disabling guard means basically if he hits an int unit with it, it's going to disable their guard and he's going to be able to do normal damage thereafter. It also alternatively means that if he hits a unit that's strength typing, any physical units afterwards will also do increased damage. He then has defense of 150% plus an additional defense of 50% when attacking. He launches 2 additional super attacks, or 2 additional attacks I should say, which have a medium chance of becoming a super attack, and he has attack of 20% with each attack performed up to 200%. He has Ki plus 3 and a medium chance of performing a critical hit within the same turn after receiving an attack. In total, his total defensive boost can be 275% when attacking, which makes it pretty good. In terms of links, he has Super Saiyan, Kamehameha, Warrior Gods, Power Bestowed by God, Fused Fighter, Over in a Flash, and Fierce Battle. He's on the Realm of the Gods, Potara, Future Saga, Time Travelers, Kamehameha, Final Trump Card, Battle of Wits, Time Limit, Accelerated Battle, Battle of Fate, Power Beyond Super Saiyan, and Fused Fighters categories. And we are lucky enough to have him at full level 10 links. Now full level 10 links doesn't mean too much with this guy. It's basically just a little bit of defense and predominantly attack. I think in total you gain 30% attack and you gain 5% defense. So nothing too crazy in terms of his links, but they do add up and we are going to see a really good offensive performance from him. So overall, as I mentioned before, he's a very good looking unit. I think his EZA was pretty nice. Here we can see him on a pretty decent rotation. He's got quite a bit of support here, so 164k defense, 3 links active and 164k defense. That defense will go up quite substantially when he fires the super attack, around the 250k mark, so it's a pretty sizable increase. And he starts off a little bit slow. He builds up very quickly though, but he can start off a tiny bit slow. But you can immediately see the difference. It goes from 1.6 to 2 million. Obviously he kind of destroyed them in that instance, but you can see straight away how rapidly that increases. And that increase occurs 10 times, not to mention the defensive stacking that he has. So as a unit, he takes a little bit of time. But in any event where you're able to kind of get him through that rough, I would say first 2 turns, if you can get him through the first 2 turns, generally speaking, or his first 2 turns, generally speaking, you get a much improved unit. And I think that does show. You know, he does have a bit of a ramp up time. Now that's okay. To have a ramp up time is not a big problem. Even in most red zones, you should get at least 2 phases out of the unit before things get truly difficult. He might struggle in some red zone where there's an int type unit first up, but generally speaking you should be able to get some pretty good showings out of him. You can see here the defense is still looking pretty good in this situation. Obviously we lost the big defensive boost of Android 17, but generally speaking he looks pretty solid. Especially alongside this Super Saiyan 4 Vegito. I think he can look really good. I think you'll see that defense climb very quickly. Remember, he gains 50% on super, so he is a perfect second slot unit. You can see that attack also continuing to climb. You can see with every attack that he does, it will improve. So each of these attacks, even though they're not super attacks, they do build up that overall attack stat, and it is fairly good. It's obviously something I think that helps out a lot with the unit, and yeah, just in general I think it does tend to help out a lot with how the unit functions. There's a lot of ways in which units have their varying degrees. I think the thing with Vegito is that you are asking him to build up And yes, a portion of his passive does rely on him basically getting hit first, but this portion of his passive is only something you're maybe going to activate a little bit later on when the unit is, built up to a nice sizable defense. It's not going to take him too long, especially if you have him rainbow. I think by turn 10 you can be looking at a unit with around 400 and something thousand defense. It's just that it does take a little bit of time. And I think nowadays people like to see units come out the gate super strong. I think with Vegito, it's kind of the principle of, he's going to look good eventually. Like eventually he's going to look very good. He's going to look super impressive. And I think people will really appreciate him there. It's just that he starts off a tiny bit slow. Now, it's not so bad. It's not like he starts off with, 60k defense or something like he used to. He definitely starts off at a very, very good point now. So it doesn't take him too long. It's just that he's not going to, by turn 2 be this defensive juggernaut. We look at him here in this situation. He does have no real support on the rotation, and his defense is looking okay-ish. It's not really at that high of 164 that we saw earlier, but he's still looking pretty good here. If we see him, he'll take his hit. 1.4 million. There's no support on this rotation, so you can immediately see how it does impact his performance. But again, climbing that 1.7, 1.4 to 1.7, that additional attack, he's just building. After these 4 attacks, he's already at 80% additional attack, which is pretty huge. And you're going to see that when he attacks next turn. You're going to see a huge, sizable increase in his output. It very rapidly builds up. So don't be misled by where Vegito starts. Be more focused on where he is by around his 3rd appearance. Because by the end of his 3rd appearance, if he's got enough attacks, he should be built up to about 160% attack. And he would have had at least 2 or 3 supers to build up that defense. So there he's going to start looking a lot better. He's going to start looking a lot more impressive, and I think you're going to see a much better picture painted of where he is as a unit. And now his 3rd appearance isn't too bad. Latest we're talking turn 6. You should start to see some really meaty attack stats, which I think is always going to be impressive. I don't think a lot of people understand, but he can really get to a huge clip. And this is a unit we're talking that can fire potentially 4 supers in a turn. It's just that there is this ramp up time associated with him. We have him here in possibly his best situation. He's linked up with the LR Vegito Blue, who's a fantastic link partner for him. I think they share 5 links. He's going to have defensive support on this rotation, and we're going to see him jump up to 232. So immediately that defense rises. Remember, he gains a significant component on super. He's going to be over 300k with his additional super attack. And you can see immediately the attack stat, again, also climbs. A huge attack. Obviously, the fact that he's critting is kind of not helping us per se. Now, in terms of build, I would suggest still going crit. I just think the fact that it relies on him getting hit beforehand. Yes, you're going to activate crits later on when he builds up his defense, but especially in the earlier parts of stages, he needs that crit to really do damage with his lower attack stats. I don't think, for me, the best build is probably to go the crit route, but to each their own. For me, it's personally the best choice. I like it when he does crits on his normals. I think at the rate he builds up attack, it's very important for him to do so. It also makes his normals more effective, but it's just going to depend. It's really not that big an issue. He's one of those units that's kind of a little bit of a universal build. He can be more crit orientated, he can be more additional orientated. It doesn't really matter. If you go additionals, you're kind of chancing on the fact of getting 4 supers. 4 supers is great. It's going to immediately push his defense into a whole new stratosphere, which means maybe he'll be able to tank earlier, which means maybe he'll be able to activate his crits earlier. It's a little bit luck of the draw. I personally think he's a 2nd slot unit with that defense activation. I think that's just where he's at. Here we've got 240k defense, very good mark. This is only his third appearance, so turn 5, turn 6, 240k after super 360, perfect second slot kind of defense, you know. He's going to take that hit, perfect. Here he's going to take a super attack, which isn't necessarily the best, but hey, whatever. He takes the super attack, and you can see how big the damage is becoming. 5.6, 5 million, 5.6 million by his third appearance, multiple versions of this attack. So huge. And double supers means double defensive raises. Double defensive raises means next turn we're looking at 300k defense. All of a sudden, very good. I'm going to show you what a 10 turn or a turn 10 Vegito looks like in the legendary Vegito event. So this is Vegito. This is turn 10, 483,000 defense. He has 5 links active in this situation. 483,000 defense with his super becomes in total over 600k defense, which is very, very good. Very, very, very good. I think it's even over 700k. Then you're going to see his attack stat. Now we're going to get a Dokkan attack here, so it's a little bit like, you know, okay, you're not going to be able to see the attack stat on the surface, but you're going to see his first attack is 9 million. So if you look underneath his tag, you'll see 9 million is the overall attack stat, and then you're going to see his second attack, which is 9.6, and this is with only 40% support on the rotation. It's very, very, very impressive. It's a super high level of damage. Yeah, it's a super duper high level of damage. It's extraordinary how much like the attack stack climbs, and that's just that constant build up, that constant stacking. It's just very, very good. So then obviously to align ourselves with that, we just talk about his link set. His link set is okay. It's really not too bad overall. The biggest issue it has is that he's an over in the flash unit, so you're actually kind of better off linking him with Super Saiyan God units or some of the fusion units, some SS4 units. Over in the flash is a bit of a stranger key link than most others. However, he does gain key of 3 after receiving an attack. So yes, if you put him in the first slot and he gets hit, he could take that key plus 3 and use it to super. Overall though, his link set, as I mentioned before, very offense related. Even at level 10 links, it's predominantly focused on offense. Super Saiyan goes from 10% attack to 15% attack. Kamehameha goes from 5% when performing a super to 10% attack. Warrior Gods gains 5% when performing a super attack. Power Stowed by God goes from attack of 5% to attack of 10%. Fuse Fighter goes from key plus 2 to key plus 2 on attack and defense of 5% and defense of 5%. Over in the Flash, you gain 7% attack, and Fierce Battle, you gain 5% attack. So you basically go and you gain 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 20, 37, 42% attack. So this is pretty good, but it's not crazy. It does elevate him, but not a tremendous amount, and it only gives him 5% defense, so it's not like he's doing a huge number. He does link very well with God Goku's. He does link decently with the Super Saiyan God Goku on a Power Beyond Super Saiyan's team or a Realm of the Gods team. So that's a great linking that you can do there. Allows him to sit in the second slot. Any unit that lets this guy sit in that second slot is going to be a good pairing partner for this guy. I just think he needs that kind of little bit of letting him just do his thing in the second slot, no pressure on him to tank before his super. Once he's built up, once you get to that turn 9, that turn 10, then you're going to be seeing a really, really crazy Vegito who's able to tank, able to do a lot of things. He links well with Kefla, physical Kefla. They are actually a very nice pairing. You've got a couple of options on the Potara side, with Power Bestowed by God, etc. Nice thing is him and Kefla do have the Fused Fighter link. Fused Fighter is kind of your secondary key link if you're not able to get over in a flash. So that's kind of where we're sitting at with Vegito. I think overall he is a very good unit. I think he's great. I think he does a really good job. And yeah, I want to know what you guys think. But that's it. That's Vegito, and I'll see you next time. Bye.